What is indeed going on, people, and welcome back to another sports reaction. I'm your host, John F. Pipney, along with my special guest today, TRL, doing a sports reaction with me today with the Week 13 matchup between the Chicago Bears and the Arizona Cardinals. So, how you feeling today, TRL?
I'm doing good. Appreciate you having me here. Can't wait for this matchup tomorrow.
Absolutely, man. I've been dreading the matchup for a few weeks, but I'm like, I have to accept it for what it is. You know, the Bears is 4-7 at this time. The Arizona Cardinals, of course, is 9-2. Kyler Murray is coming back after being gone for 4 weeks. Of course, the last time that him and DeAndre Hopkins played was week 8, I believe, against the Packers.
Yep.
So I do expect both of them to, well, more so the quarterback than wide receiver to be more so rusty than anything.
Yep.
But with Kyler Murray now officially returning after missing 4 games, how do you feel like how he possibly will perform after doing that? After first being an MVP candidate and can still possibly finish it if he finish strong throughout the rest of the season.
I feel like it's going to be a slow start at first. I don't expect him to fully go back to the way he was. I mean, it was a high ankle sprain. It's hard to recover from that if you think about it. But if somehow he can return to his MVP form, say like the next week or so, I feel like we have a chance to win out. But I mean, I don't feel like he's going to win MVP anymore. I feel like he's missed too much time to do so. But I mean, I don't really care about, obviously I want my quarterback to be successful, but at the end of the day, the ring is all that matters, and that's what I want. That's what I hope my quarterback's focused on more. I mean, you play to win rings. So, but like I said, I don't expect, if he does play this week, I don't expect him to be himself at first. That's why I feel like if he does play, it'll be a way closer game, but that's where I am right now.
Okay. Now, of course, is James Conner playing in this game? I believe he is.
Yeah, he is.
Okay, now James Conner, because we just going over that. Then I'm gonna ask you the 3 offensive and defensive keys to the game. Now, James Conner, of course, he's not having the best year, but he's still having a pretty decent year. He is rushing only 3.8 yards per carry, but he does have 12 rushing touchdowns. Now, Cardinals rush offense is going against the Bears rush defense, I believe, which is ranked somewhat between 20th to 23rd in the league. How well do you think James Conner will be effective against that Bears defense with a missing Akeem Hicks, Mario Edwards, and a few more key guys on that line?
Well, if you look at his tape this season, he's not really the running back like throughout the entire field. He's mostly the running back that's used in the red zone that much. So I feel like the Bears will keep up with him because he doesn't seem to really have a good play until we get in the red zone. Way more than half of his touchdowns have been in the from the red zone this season. He hasn't really had a long run this season. And with Chase Edmonds out, he's just going to keep getting all those carries. So, and I don't expect Kyler to run the ball at all if he plays. So I expect James Conner to play a really good game, especially if the Bears' run defense is ranked pretty low. But at the end of the day, I feel like we're just going to stick to the game plan, which is just use him in the red zone a lot more. But I feel like he'll have a pretty good game overall.
Okay, because I'm like, even though the Bears' rush defense has been up and down throughout the season, they did make a lot of key stops last week against Detroit. Yeah, you can say that's just Detroit, but Detroit has been very competitive in a lot of the games they've been in, and they still was able to break a few good runs against the Bears defense because of how bad they've been and missing interior linemen. But for the most part, they was able to shut that down. But the part that really do scares me is basically that the Bears pass defense gives up so many goddamn yards. Even with Jared Goff, even though they limited him to not having a lot of passing yards overall, he still was 22 of 25 in terms of completion
Yeah.
percentage. And he did have his highest rated quarterback rating with, I believe it was like 123.7 last week of
Mm-hmm.
the season. So how do you think that Kyler Murray will be able to adjust and be able to pass the football correctly? Of course, missing those 4 games.
So I don't know if you've looked at the completion percentage stats this season, but so far this season, Kyler has had the best completion percentage out of every single quarterback in the league. And obviously, he has the receivers to do it. So I feel like our receiving core, with or without Hopkins, will be good. I mean, because I know we played Seattle last week, but even without Kyler, Colt McCoy still had 300 passing yards. And Cliff Kingsbury, he's a fan of the air raid scheme. So, and it's pretty useful towards passing quarterbacks, in my opinion. I feel like Kyler just became the franchise quarterback already with the way he plays on the field as far as passing. Because I mean, throughout his career, he's thrown the ball a lot and a lot. And I know people want to say he's that type of quarterback that just runs, 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 which could be debatable. But ever since he's had Kingsbury, he's thrown the ball a lot more than ever in his life. So I feel like our passing team will do really, really good. And especially if you allow Kyler to get on a rhythm as far as completing passes in a row, then that's when Kyler just completely dominates. So if the Bears defense can force a few incompletions in a row, maybe hold them to 3-and-out, maybe, then maybe you can keep Kyler in check a bit, but don't allow him to just complete consecutive passes over and over again. That's what I would say as far as your defense goes.
Yeah, that is very true, And once again, even with missing Khalil Mack, he's been gone for the past 5-6 weeks as well. The Bears pass rush still been able to get to the quarterback. And you said that it's a possibility that Kyler Murray will not run in this game. He most likely is going to have no choice but to run the football in this game because number one, a lot of your offensive linemen he is injured. So with this Bears powerful pass rush, one thing they can do is rush the quarterback. They will be trying to get to him, and when he finds those open holes, he's probably going to have no choice but to try to outrun them and try not to take that real big hit from one of the players because of course, we spoke earlier about Roquan Smith being a game time decision, and it's still going to be a strong chance that he does try to give it a go. Do you think that he will be able to outrun them all day, or eventually he will start getting sacked a lot, and that could affect the way the Cardinals play the game outside of that, which they probably will have to run more misdirection plays, screen plays to basically try to protect Kyler Murray. So with that doing so, do you think your Cardinals offensive line will be able to at least try to contain that Bears pass rush well enough so then they can so he can get the ball out and spread the ball down the field?
I feel like our O line is way worse than it was last year. Of course we've been dealing with injuries on our O line, and to be honest, a lot of people that are fans of this team are okay with that, just them not being so good because Kyler has the ability to escape sacks, and he's done it a lot this season. But I mean, like I said, I don't expect him to return to his old form. So some of that may be involved as of not being able to run that well. And if you look at what he's done in practice this week, he hasn't really tried to run out of the pocket or anything. He hasn't tried to do any of that. So I feel like if you can get to Kyler Murray, I feel like he's gonna have to take a hard hit, or he probably will, or maybe he'll try to run it off. I mean, Kyler's decision making has never really been known to be the best, but yeah, I mean, just coming off a high ankle sprain, I see him staying in the pocket for most of the plays. So the Bears may get a few sacks this game here and there. So
Yeah, that is definitely true. I believe that Robert Quinn probably gonna get a sack. The interior linemen really have not been getting sacks ever since Akeem Hicks got hurt. It's mainly been the outside guys in rotation, but I believe that they will be able to get the interior linemen, both D tackles and nose tackle, will
yeah,
be able to get to him and possibly bring them down. But with his elusiveness and speed, I'm pretty sure he will be able to extend plays here and there and definitely find an open wide receiver down the field because you do have a lot of weapons. I do say that much. But what is the three defensive keys to the game for you guys to be able to stop the Bears' offense, basically?
uh, okay, so just number one, stop David Montgomery. This team really, really sucks at run defense this season. I believe we're bottom 10 now, like because we used to be bottom 5, but it's kind of like a bend but not break rush defense. There's games where we show up on it, and then there's other games where we allow running backs to just dominate us the entire game. So number one, you got to stop David Montgomery, and if you can't do that, then the Bears, they won't really need to pass the ball, because if the run works, which it probably will work on us for a couple drives, then they'll just keep doing it, in my opinion. So that's where I'm going. Number two, just good play call. Like, our defensive coordinator has been really good this season, but as far as the play call goes, he runs cover 2 a lot. If you look at the tape, and then occasionally he'll just blitz a lot of guys. There's plays where he'll rush 6, 7, 8 guys and then just leave the rest in coverage, which isn't really a smart decision. And I know the Bears receiving core, like, they're missing Allen Robinson, but I think Darnell Mooney came off of like a 100-yard game against the Lions.
123 yards.
Yeah, and he had like 4 catches or something like that. So
Five
so he had 5
receptions.
catches. Yeah, so he had a pretty good game. And whenever this season, whenever quarterbacks throw the deep ball, they've struggled a little bit against us. I mean, our passing is top 10 this season, our passing defense. And our DB core is really young if you look at it. We got a couple rookies out there, and Marco Wilson and James Wiggins. And then I think like our oldest DB is Byron Murphy, who's only in his 3rd year. So, I mean, him and Robert Alford, who is still pretty young, but he came off an injury this season. So yeah, that's another way. Just stop David Montgomery, and then just do actual good play calling as far as coverage goes.
Okay. Well, now I just want to ask you now to also break down the 3 offensive keys to the game before I get to my Chicago Bears defensive and also offensive keys to the game as well.
All right. Oh, my offense as well.
Yes.
Okay. Well, Cliff Kingsbury, he's stepped up a lot, but I still need to see him play call another few good games. Last season, him being the reason why we missed the playoffs was because of his play calling, and he stepped up this season. We've already won more games than we've won last season, but against this Bears defense, like, even though they're 4-7, 4-8, it's no joke. So yeah, the play calling needs to be good. Number one. Number two, the penalties need to be cut short. Last season, we were the most penalized team. This season, we've cleaned it up a lot, but there's been some drives occasionally where a penalty would mess up our chances on some drives. Like at the beginning of the season, I said bring in veterans during the offseason, and we were able to do that. We traded for Rodney Hudson from the Raiders. We picked up A.J. Green. We got J.J. Watt, and like the veterans really helped our young guys not like draw a bunch of false starts and neutral zone infractions and such. So if you don't get called for a lot of penalties, then this team is going to move the ball a lot. And the third reason, we're going to need consistency, because I mean, with Kyler being out, there's been some drives where we've just gone 3 and out a lot. We scored less points. Against the Panthers, we only had like 170 total yards, and we only had like 9 first downs or something like that. So, like, ever since Kyler's been out, this team's kind of been inconsistent lately. So if the Bears defense gives us consistency, then we can easily score a lot of points on every drive that we do. So that's where I'm going. Just the play calling, the penalties being cut short, and the consistency for the offense.
Okay. Well, just to chime in on that too, yeah, a lot of that stuff you said is absolutely true. The main culprit is the simple fact that because your defensive back core is young, that's where a lot of those penalties do come into effect. But they do, like I said before, you guys do have an excellent defensive backfield, one of the lowest catch percentages in the league, especially with Buda Baker. I believe
Yep.
allowing 58% passing completion and 76.6 quarterback rating, along with 3 interceptions. So yeah, that's going to be rough for the Bears passing game, but they're going to have to adjust. But to jump things off with the offensive keys of the game, number one is even though Andy Dalton is the can run Matt Nagy's system a lot more effectively than Justin Fields, the main things that he's going to have to do is read the entire field and not be so focused on that one read. Now he did it. He did it a few times against Detroit, where he was just so focused on that one read, he missed out on seeing somebody wide open. And even with that one read, he probably could have put the ball in a better spot instead of more so than not behind them or too far in front of them and causing the ball to either get knocked down or they take a big hit. One possible example, the best example of it was the simple fact that he threw the ball, trying to aim the ball to Damiere Byrd instead of trying to loft it over the top with a little bit more air and allowed Damiere Byrd to come down for a touchdown. Instead, it was an interception. And also on the flip side of that, he could have threw the ball to Cole Kmet that was wide open on a wheel route, and he could have just literally walked in for a touchdown. So that's one of the main things he definitely is going to have to do to make sure that he does not make those type of decisions. Now, of course, key number two is to try to get David Montgomery and Khalil Herbert a lot more involved than they did last week. Now, Detroit Lions was able to slow down the run typically, but it was also by design of the Bears offense not running the ball more effectively and also running the same play concepts in different formations. That's something that they failed to do last week. They usually ran the same plays in the same type of formations. And eventually the Lions was able to catch on to it and eventually slow the running game down. And Khalil Herbert was just completely ineffective throughout the game. So in order for the Bears to even be able to play at a better level, they're going to have to find a way to get those guys the ball. Not only just running the football, but also pass catching out of the backfield. Probably have one in the backfield, one in the slot, and then try to mix it up that way in terms of getting both players on the field at the same time if possible, and also be able to spread the ball around. And that's leading up to my third key to the game, and that is continuously spread the ball around to every available receiver that you have because you do not have Allen Robinson.
Yep.
For the past 2-3 weeks, they've been spreading the ball around a lot more effectively. Of course, to Cole Kmet, Darnell Mooney, Marquise Goodwin, even though he's not going to play in this game, he is out for this game. Damiere Byrd, they're probably going to bring up Daz Newsome from the practice squad, bring in a few other guys to try to fill up the wide receiver spot. But spreading the ball to every type of position that is available on that field will be the main reason why it will be hard for the Cardinals to be able to sit down and see what they're doing. And also just making second half adjustments too, because they've been terrible at doing that all goddamn season. It's either they play well in the first half, can't do shit in the second half, or they play terrible in the first half, and then they do good in the second half.
Yeah.
So hopefully the Bears can indeed get that together. But in terms of the three defensive keys to the game, I'm just gonna keep it short and sweet. Number one, they have to put a lot of pressure on Kyler Murray. Keep pressure on him and make sure that when he tries to get outside the pocket, those interior linemen be quick enough to break free from the offensive lineman that is trying to block them and clean up what the defensive end / outside linebackers was able to do. And that's have him climb up into the pocket. The moment he climbs up into the pocket, the two defensive ends and the nose tackle have to be able to make those type of plays and slow him down and get that sack immediately. If they're able to do that, then that'll make things a lot easier for the Chicago Bears. And key number two to the game is simple. Stop the run at all times. Now, James Conner, like you said, they really haven't used him like that other than using him primarily in the red zone. And because the other running back is out, that means he's going to get majority of the carries in this game. Even though he doesn't have the speed and burst like he did with Pittsburgh, he still is a dangerous power running back, and he can definitely burst through the hole and break tackles and extend drives very easily on 3rd and 1s third and twos, third and threes. So they're going to have to make sure to be able to get to that backfield quickly as possible and blow up the plays before he gains momentum. Because if they don't, it's a wrap. Once he get those wheels turning, it's gonna take 2, 3 guys just to bring him down on a consistent basis. And key number 3 is to try to do their best to contain the passing game the best way possible, because they haven't been able to do it the entire season already. Only a handful of games that they was able to do it. They slowed down Detroit's passing offense, but they still gave up too many completions. And with a dynamic quarterback like Kyler Murray is, yeah, he has been missing 4 weeks, so that will be a positive on the Bears side of the football. But once he does find a rhythm and able to get going, if he's able to find a rhythm and get going, he's going to torch the Bears like there is no other. So hopefully the Bears can find a way to do that without basically allowing this man to throw for 300-400 yards in the game and still able to run for anywhere between 50 to 100 additional yards as well.
Mm-hmm.
But what do you believe will be the score prediction for this game?
All right, so since we're talking about as if Kyler Murray's going to play, he's still a game time decision, but as if he's going to play, I have it being a close game, 28-20, mostly just because I feel like our defense will show up again. I don't feel like our offense will completely show up the way they've been this season if Kyler plays, because the Bears defense, they know how to get stops a lot, and Kyler's coming off a 4-week injury, so that's why I have it being 28-20 if he does play. Cardinals win, go to 10-2.
Okay. I said me, I have a different prediction. Usually my prediction have not been wrong. I think only been wrong maybe twice all season predicting games. And this one, I believe I will be right in. Now, if the Bears was to lose the game, I will say I will not be surprised. They are 4-7 for a reason. Incompetent play calling, players being injured, and the players that was there before they was replaced last week was so damn incompetent to a point that I was surprised it took this long to get them off the field. So to let you know how terrible the coaching staff is in recognizing what the hell it is. But if they were to win this game, it's going to be a gritty defensive game where the Bears defense or special team scores. And that's what helped the Bears go on top at the end when the offense finally able to get it together in the second half. And I believe that the Bears possibly win this game, someone like a weird score like 25-23 or 27-26 type of game. That's what I believe that it can amount to. But only how that does happen if they're able to cause a turnover or two and able to run it back for a touchdown. But if none of that comes into fruition, the Bears can possibly get their ass swept 30-17 very easy. I will say that much.
Yep.
But going down now to the injury report, I know we spoke on it before, but who is the most important guys that is going from your team? And who is the rotational guys that is going that does make a big difference on your Arizona Cardinals team?
Okay, so I'm going to start with our O-line because that's where we're dealing with injuries the most. Our left guard may be out again. He's dealing with a leg issue. He's been out since the Green Bay game, I think, as well, along with Hopkins and Kyler. And ever since he's been out, there's been certain defensive guys that have gotten to Kyler and Colt McCoy ever since that game. And I think him getting injured during that Packers game was towards the fourth quarter when we were driving down the field, and then Kyler got hit on the play before the final where he threw the pick. So our O-line, they've been banged up a lot. That's why I expect the Bears to get a couple sacks in this game. Well, another guy, even though our receiving core is playing good, we really need Hopkins. He's the key receiver on this team. And, even though his stats haven't really been as good as they were last year, in the first 8 games he played last season, he's only had about 400 yards or so, but he's had so many touchdowns in the red zone along with James Conner as well. So I feel like our red zone will be so much better if Hopkins plays because, for the past couple years, maybe few years, we've had red zone issues occasionally where we've had to kick field goals. And since we had James Conner and Hopkins, it's been cleaned up a lot. So If we get Hopkins back, then we'll be way, way more better, obviously. Um, I would say Kyler, but I don't think we really would need him for this game because Colt McCoy, he's handled the ball really well. He hasn't really turned over the ball that much. He's only thrown one interception, I think, so far in the 3 games that he's played. Other than that, he's been playing really, really good. But just the two main guys we really need is our left guard Justin Pugh and our receiver DeAndre Hopkins. On defense, like even though he's known to be out for the season, we still need JJ Watt. You know, like I know he's not going to play in this game, but ever since he's been out, our run defense has been even more atrocious. And because he was the star run defender on our team, so you know we really miss him right now more than anybody else. But other than that, Hopkins and Justin Pugh, we need those guys for this game.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, normally, if it was any other Bears team from either 2020 and down, I would say that this Bears offense would be able to take advantage of that. But doing with this coaching staff, you still don't know because they failed to make the right adjustments at the right time. But we will see exactly what happens during the game, halftime, post game. We're going to know everything that's going on then.
Mm-hmm.
But with the injury report that's going on with the Chicago Bears, of course, we did briefly talk about Roquan Smith being questionable and being a game time decision. Now, it's supposed to be a strong chance that he does play in this game, but it's still a small chance that he misses it. Now, if he does misses it, then most likely will be either Chandler Jones or somebody else to replace them. Now, they are decent linebackers. They have started for other teams like Chandler Jones when he left the Bears. He started for Detroit for a couple of seasons before he eventually came back to the Bears. But we know what Roquan Smith brings to the table. He shoots to the ball carry. He makes the right plays. He can intercept the ball, take it to the house, and all of the above. He also can get to the quarterback very well. So the best thing that Christian Jones can do is make open field tackles on a consistent basis and possibly pass rush quarterback when called onto the blitz. But he is not the best pass protector. I mean, pass defending guy, anything like that. So if Roquan Smith isn't able to play, you guys definitely going to be able to take advantage of that. Now, of course, I don't know if you know, but Tevin Jenkins has officially been activated. So
Yep.
will be his first official game plan. I'm pretty sure they're going to have him come in sparingly to protect Jason Peters a little bit more because once he starts running out of gas, it seems like he started limping out there, like he can't keep up with it. So sparingly in between, they're going to be bringing him in, and hopefully, we can get a good assessment of how he does, or it could be a terrible assessment and he end up getting re-injured, and then we lose him for the rest of the season, which that'll piss all Bear fans off.
Yeah.
Also, of course, Justin Fields is doubtful. We know he's not playing this game because Andy Dalton is starting the game, and he still has cracked ribs. I believe probably another couple of weeks he'll probably be back, but I wouldn't play him this week or next week, just based on the type of teams that we are playing and the way the offensive line still not finding a way to protect the quarterback on a consistent basis because the coaches still, yet again, want to do 5-man protection more so than 6 and 7-man. That's what's leading to a lot of sacks, and that's the reason why Justin Fields is hurt. So hopefully they can get that together. Cole Kmet suffered a minor injury. He's going to play. Allen Robinson, we know he's doubtful. He's not going to play. We spoke about Mario Edwards. He's not playing. Marquise Goodwin is not playing. Keem Hicks is out, which is definitely a huge blow for the Bears defensive line because whenever he is available, they stop the run on a more consistent basis. They have more big bodies out there, and the offensive linemen cannot go to the second level because they're too busy dealing with Akeem Hicks, which free up the linebackers and everything else. That's how the Bears was able to stop the run early in the year before he got injured. And of course, the running back Damian Williams is out as well. Ever since he had his breakout game against the Raiders, COVID-19 protocol after that, and then since then he's been injured. So and he's been basically phased out of the offense. They barely even use him anymore because they know that Khalil Herbert is a better option overall. So that is the Bears injury report as well. So man, like I said before, this is gonna be a real tough game for the Chicago Bears. The
Hmm.
only advantage that we do have is the simple fact that Kyler Murray is indeed injured and coming back. Well, not injured, but coming back from injury. So we know he's going to be a little bit stiff out there.
Yep.
So it's like, wow. Well, do you have anything to add to it?
Well, I mean, they like every single coach on our team so far. They've said that they want Kyler and DeAndre back 100%. So like, I don't know like how long it's gonna take. It's a high ankle sprain, and sometimes those can take a while, like even longer than 4 weeks to heal up from. But and Hopkins has a hamstring issue, which is not. I mean, a lot of people think it's no big deal, but it really is. I mean, I've had one before, so yeah, it's tough to recover from those injuries. But if we want them back 100%, then I wouldn't be shocked if we didn't play at least Kyler in this game. If Hopkins plays, then I wouldn't be shocked because normally when Hopkins is dealing with an injury, he still plays, but he doesn't really practice a lot. And this week he only practiced I think once, and yesterday he didn't practice at all. Like that's the thing with Hopkins. Like we don't really know if he's gonna play until game time, even if he's like questionable or whatever. So like I think if like I wouldn't be shocked if Kyler's ruled out for this game because with the way Colt McCoy's playing and with the way the Bears have seemed to struggle on certain defense occasions, I wouldn't be shocked if we kept Kyler out and saved him up for the Rams game on Monday night next week. But if we do play him, then I expect us to run the ball a lot more. And when we do throw the ball, I expect it to be like, I don't know, say like 5 to 10 yard passes. I don't expect Kyler to just like overplay himself or whatever, and worst case scenario, get hurt even more. So that's where I'm at. But I mean, like, if we don't play him, I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah, that is true. About to say because the guy I spoke to yesterday, the content creator, Troxel sports stream, he said that he'd take Kyler Murray at 60%. I had something to say about it. I was like, I don't know, because last year when he was 60%, y'all went from 6-3 to 8-8. So
Yeah.
that's a strong possibility of that possibly happening. But because it's not his shoulder, it's a high ankle sprain. He still will be able to throw the football a lot more effectively than he was able to do last year. It's just a simple fact that if it's on his planet foot, which he's right-handed, so his planet foot will most likely be the back foot. That way, he put all the pressure on before he releases the football. If he's not able to put the adequate pressure on that foot, then a few balls may be either overthrown or underthrown, and that can be possibly intercepted. So
Yeah.
those are the possibilities that can happen in this game. Now, of course, with Andy Dalton, he just got to make sure he doesn't be dumbfounded because he can and will throw the ball in traffic because he's so tight on that one read that he can throw more
Mm-hmm.
than one interception in the game. So hopefully that doesn't happen. And like I said before, man, we're gonna see how it goes down this Sunday between the Chicago Bears and the Arizona Cardinals. So I just want to thank you, TRL, for being on the show today. I do appreciate it. I would like to have you back also in the off season, along with Troxel Sports Streams, and try to
Oh,
get you in touch with him, another fellow Cardinals fan, so we can try to get some of his subscribers as well to hop onto your stream as well.
all right. Yep. That sounds nice. I appreciate you having me here. So, yeah.
Oh, okay, there. Okay, there. Thank you for being here. But yet again, people, thank you for tuning in to the Chicago Bears versus the Arizona Cardinals sports reaction this week. It is week 13, 2021. So just make sure to tune in to watch TRL's live stream that will be on later on today. His link is in the description. He will be having a sports hangout at 7:30 our time. I believe it will be 6:30 your time, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so make sure to tune into that. Make sure to subscribe to his channel. Once again, his link is in the description down below. But that will be it for us, people. All right now. Peace out.